The next thing I wanted to go into was transformation itself. And, because these days I think many people are having powerful spiritual openings, experiences of all kinds, satori's, enlightenment experiences. And I think for many people, there's been a kind of presumption that, well, once you've had some big experiences, that means you're sort of enlightened now. But obviously transformation, from a traditional perspective or just a simple common sense perspective, is much more than just having deep experiences or even ongoing access to higher states of consciousness.
Many people have that first experience, what we would call an enlightened or Kensho experience or Satori experience, and think that that's it. Now I'm enlightened. That's just the beginning. That's what we call in Zen awakening the Bodhi mind, the awakened mind, awakening the awakened mind that then seeks for further clarification, further depth, and further enlightenment. The second stage, which many people never get to, is called the stage of surrender and submission. And there is surrender and submission to the way, capital W, to the way, to the Buddha Dharma, to a spiritual path, maybe to a teacher of any path, of any spiritual practice. But it's only through that we can really work on our ego. If we don't have an outside agent, then we've got our own ego as our master. And the ego as a master is a very, very problematic thing. It's like trying to do surgery on ourselves and having ourself as our own surgeon. Unless it's pretty minor surgery, we're not going to attempt that. So spiritual practice, we need an outside, and in our lineage we'd call it an embodiment of the Buddha Dharma, someone who really has mastered the awakened state and actually comes from a place of wisdom and compassion. The second stage is to submit to that lineage, to that tradition, to that practice completely. The third stage, where all of us want to get to, but we want to skip the second stage, is great enlightenment, what we call in Zen daikensho, a great enlightened experience, a great awakening, great liberation. That is an experience of really not just glimpsing the Absolute, but becoming one with the Absolute. And this is the full awakening. However, it's a very dangerous place to get stuck in, because at this place we feel absolute power, and we're seen as an enlightened being, and there is a tendency to not acknowledge cause and effect at this level, third stage, and that's what makes it so dangerous. Okay? The fourth stage, which in the tradition, our tradition, is called advanced achievement. I call it falling from grace, and I know you're familiar with this. When you fall from grace means that you let go of that enlightened place that you've been dwelling. For me, it was 8 years. I got stuck in that, what we'd call enlightened place. And when you're stuck there, you create a lot of karma. In 94, when I went through this, where I told you I was going through the visualization of jealousy and so forth, and actually at that place really dropped the enlightenment, it was like falling from grace. And now, once again, we start to integrate the personal back into the impersonal, the relative back into the absolute. And so the fourth stage, we're really more in the relative world again, coming from the relative side of reality, because the absolute and relative are one reality seen from two different perspectives. But in this place, we feel all the pain of the world, all the suffering of the world, all the fear in the world, the anxiety, and so forth. We can feel it in our own bones, in our own being. We're no longer separate from it because we've gone through the experience of being one with all things so completely. The fifth stage is the integration of the relative and absolute, where once again we actually consciously choose to be a human being.